Oh, all right. And speaking of stupid, I'm Louie Rabaut, hanging out with a not so stupid Barry Spears. Maybe he's just hanging out with you. Who knows? SoCal Saturday on a Friday. It is September 26th. Thanks for hanging out with us. Of course, we are previewing the September 27th card. Tomorrow's card, of course, 5 graded stakes at Santa Anita. We're going down the hill a couple times. We're doing some dirt route racing. We're going a mile and a quarter on the turf, Barry. How about that? How you doing today? You doing all right, buddy? Fun
Yeah,
card.
hanging in there. Trying to figure out who rubbed off more dumbness on who in this relationship here.
A lot of dumb.
Me or
That's
was
right.
it
That's a lot of dumb. It's a stunning amount of dumb. My kid has an 8th grade soccer game today, and it might be his last middle school soccer game.
Oh,
How about that? So when you're an old man, you say things like that. Louie Rabaut,
yeah.
Barry Spears with you. We're presented by Amwager. Amwager.com. Go check them out today. If you are a new customer, they've got a 100% deposit match up to $150 available for you. They'll be at our seminar here in Louisville if you are able to join us ahead of the Breeders' Cup Tuesday at Martini Italian Bistro here in the city on the east end of town. Certainly welcome to come check us out there. And by us, I mean Barry Spears is coming to Louisville for like a half day.
Yeah.
Just to do that seminar. So there you go. You know what? This show is just jet setting. That's what it is. You understand me,
That's
young
what it
Barry?
is. Yeah.
We're
I
just
like
jet
the jet
setting.
set.
It's going to be your birthday when we do that
Oh,
seminar, like a
I
big birthday
know.
too.
Yeah, sort of.
But you'll be
1,000
able to
years
find
old.
that wherever you watch this show. You'll be able to find that. We'll also be on the Blood Horse Networks for that one on that Tuesday ahead of the Breeders' Cup. But Bear, we're getting close to that Breeders' Cup. Got several Breeders' Cup winning in races at Santa Anita, the Vosburg as well at Aqueduct. If anybody's interested in that coverage, had a conversation with Matthew DeSantis up there on Long Island earlier today on my show on ESPN Radio here in town. That's up at the podcast center at the Horse Racing Happy Hour as well. But this card, getting back to Santa Anita, these meets. You know what I like about this meet? I like about the September meet at Churchill for I think a 1-to-1 kind of very apple to apple kind of comparison, Barry, is that it almost feels like a boutique meet. Does it not? So it feels like we're kind of getting the boutique thing at Santa Anita, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
This month nice little scrimmage before the big game.
Pretty much right. Yeah.
At the end of October. But I think what's really going to stand out is the turf racing because everybody's been holding on to their turf horses.
You're right.
And they're going to unleash, and I think the good fields, big payoffs, and the whole nine. So I'm ready for it.
All kinds of good things tomorrow on the card. Again, amwager.com. Go check them out at least. Go see the platform. You'll love it once you see it. Go check them out, our friends there. Of course, we'll go to race 1. It is an odd race, which means our odd guy, Barry, gets to go first. State bred fillies running here in a maiden special weight. You got to be 3, 4, or 5 years old to run in this one. 6 furlongs on the turf for $60,000, Barry. And you landed on the outside, one of the outside horses in Della Terra. Look at you being boring to start the show.
Yeah, unfortunately, I landed on the chalk. I tried to beat this horse. Trust me, I really, 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 really did. I just couldn't see it. There's really not any speed in this race other than Della Terra. She's the fastest horse on paper. She's the fastest horse in this race, and I think she gets the job done fairly easily here.
Yeah, coming off a little bit of a layoff. Any concern with that?
No, not at all. She hasn't run all that much, so her 2 starts there in February and March really have very little impact on this race. I think she's the goods.
You are 8, 5, and 3 in here. I'll go 1, 8, and 5. So I'll try the inside horse here. Second time starter, Tiger of the Sea for Brian Corner. And of course, Daniel Herrera getting the mount here. The two of them 0 for 8 to start their career together. So I think at 4-1, I'm actually going to get a fair amount more value than that. Love the work last out on the 15th of September. I think that's the kind of speed that can carry here. And frankly, was really good on debut in August and should be, August of last year should be ready to go, I think, off of a long layoff here. And Barry, part of the reason I think that this is a good play is not that I think the layoff is going to be an issue. Obviously I don't, but I think we're going to get way more than 4-1. I think we're going to get way more than 4-1. And I think that this horse can win in this spot. And I think 6-1, 7-1 is a fair price.
Yeah, you should, because I think they're really gonna pour it in on Della Terra. So we'll see what it ends up as. But I think a healthy second choice at 5-1 would be probably what you'll see.
You and I both like Mendelssohn's Angel, and that's an interesting thing because this horse finished 8th last out, is 8-1 on the line. We both have the 5 in our handicapping. You have that 1 second. What do you like about her?
Just kind of got her progress impeded the last race. Was didn't get a great trip, and I think the horse is on the improve. You can kind of tell the workouts coming out of that last race were pretty good. Um, and I don't know. I think this horse has some ability. Just by looking at that first race, probably would want longer, but we're here on Saturday, so I think this one is a formidable foe in this kind of race.
Barry Spears, Louie Rabaut with you here on SoCal Saturdays, represented by Amwager. This is the horse racing happy hour. We move on to race two. On the card here, it is an optional claimer, $50,000 if you want to throw your horse in with the tag, 6 furlongs on the dirt. They're running for $61,000. Miracle Mark is the 2-1 favorite, at least on the morning line in the 2-hole. Barry, I do not have that horse in my handicapping whatsoever.
Oh,
Which is pretty unusual for me, but here we are having fun on a Friday. It goes to midnight for Abel Liscano, and Mark Glatt comes in the top spot for me. This is one that we saw in the San Carlos in March of 2024, is now going to be second off the layoff here. Ran in an optional claimer at the $100,000 level for non-two lifers last out. I think just needed the race. Barry will be considerably better here. Mark Glatt, 34% off of these kinds of layoffs. And so I think that this is the spot for this one to land in. Hopefully Abel Liscano ready to go with this one as well. So go ahead, give me in this spot, give me Ghost of a Midnight, the 5-horse on top in race 2, Barry. I know you went to, I don't know, the exact same spot. How about that? Anything you want to add?
yeah. I think the setup is really, really, really there for this horse. There's quite a bit of speed with Grubauer and a few inside horses. Code Duello, who's actually running very well, has a lot of speed too. I think that's going to affect this horse, and even the inside horse, Lawless World, has a lot of speed. So I think the setup is there. Glatt takes the double as far as I'm concerned.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. That would give you the Mark Glatt double there. You went 5, 2, and 6. What do you like about Miracle Mark here? The favorite going to the post.
Just has the speed figures to do it.
I agree.
Not
Yep.
so much the running style, and I'm not really sure how well this horse will take to the dirt. But if you figure this horse is down maybe 10 points off of those turf efforts, puts this horse right in the mix.
Yeah. Still
Probably
have
gets a favorable trip too. Kimura is very savvy with his judge of pace, so I think that horse will be really tough too. But I gave the nod to the 5.
I was talking with Jaime, Joaquin Jaime, excuse me, the other day and Jaime Torres in my head for no reason. I was talking to Joaquin Jaime on this show yesterday about these races, and Kazushi came up and going over 1,000 wins on the North American scene. Certainly just one of those guys that's emerging in our sport, as you pointed out, as especially seems to have a good read of pace. As he runs in these kinds of or rides in these kinds of races, excuse me. I went 5, 4, and 3 here in the second race. Coduello, as you mentioned, is running really, really well. And part of this, Barry, is because I got one of these runners at Los Al for like 45 to one, $45 kind of payout. And look, if you give me Edgar, and I like this development in Southern California, that especially in these sprint races, let's be clear about what Payeras is as a jockey. This is what he specializes in, right? Is making as few mistakes as possible, getting your sprinting horse to either the front or near the front, and then figuring it out at the very end of these races. I love this. I love the number 6-1 on Code Duello, who, because of running in mixed company with quarter horses, has a lot more wins on the resume than most of the horses in this field, Barry. And so I just like when a horse crosses the line first, as often as Code Duello has. One last out, frankly, at the optional claiming $40,000 level as well. So if I get 6-1 there, I love it. The 3 Berlin Wall, I love because this horse got first place through DQ last time, gets to try winners for the first time. But I thought, frankly, did a bunch of good work with so much trouble, Barry, for this horse to even have finished second with all the bumping and all the things that went on in that race. Very positive for me. I went 5, 4, 3 in this spot. You also have the 6 horse in your handicapping in Grubauer. Rombauer not around anymore, but Grubauer in this one.
Yeah, kind of a stop and pop. This horse likes to get out there and go. And, there are versions of this race where Grubauer shakes clear and kind of runs away. I mean, comes out of that awesome rhythm race that you were just kind of referring to. Um, that last race was a huge improvement from the layoff, the August 2nd race, and I think this horse will probably progress. But I really have doubts of this horse sticking around to win a race like this. It seems like he kind of gives it up late, and I think obviously the 5 is Johnny on the spot and should take this heat.
Again, amwager.com. Oh, I just heard my mic drop precipitously. Can you still hear me, Barry? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, barely.
Oh, I wonder what the heck just happened. Is that
There you
way
go.
better?
Yeah,
Huh.
much better.
I got to watch where I put my arms because I have technical equipment.
Well, that's what happens when you have those 40-inch pythons.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's what it is. Amwager.com.
Oh.
We move on to race 3. We'll go inside the
Dang.
mind of Spears later on in the
Oh, you don't want
program.
that.
We sure
Clearly.
don't. Another state bred maiden special. We got fillies here. 6 furlongs on the dirt, $60,000 on the line. 2-year-old fillies here. Barry, we are always starting serious watch of the fillies at this point, or the 2-year-olds, excuse me, at this point of the year. This maiden special, no different for sure. We've got a 3-1 Jacqueline Lucas in here, but a 7-5 cashed for Doug O'Neill. Where'd you land with these fillies?
I ended up on the 4, funny enough. The longest of the horses I thought were really contenders. I thought it was kind of 4, 5, and 3. But the 4, if you put a line through that last race on the turf, clearly the horse didn't want any part of that. This horse has some speed. Parabon likes to put blinkers on to get a little bit more out of these horses. He has a really good strike rate with that going way back. And I don't see any other speeds in this race. And I think Final Table Lady will get the run of the race. Whether she can hold on and win is another story. But I think we're going to get a good price and a good shot to win this one.
You and I, a fair amount of overlap here. You went 4, 5, and 3. I went 5, 2, and 3. You, of course, talking about the 4 horse there in a Final Table Lady, who I do have in my handicapping. Cash, though, on top for me, 7-5 here. I thought looked really good last out against other state bred company. Just kind of ran out of gas at the end of that one. Should be able to figure it out this time around, not having to do any of the extra work that you might have to do at a Del Mar. I do love that this one started its career at Wyoming, by the way. Just wanted to give that shout out in a $13,000 maiden special weight out there in Wyoming is cash, but in the O'Neill barn now, having moved over from the Chris Mitchell barn. But again, I landed 5, 2, and 3 here. I think Jacqueline Lucas is interesting. Juan Hernandez picks up the mount here for Ruben Silvera. So I do think that's a big step forward for this horse. Barry, I'm trying to think because I was working on this in my head.
Uh-oh.
When is the last time you saw a 1 furlong workout on the form and that there were 3 of them in the same day at Del Mar?
Yeah, it's has to be at least 25 years since I've seen that.
I was going to see
And
that.
it's funny, they must have. I would say like they must have told the clocker they were going to do one
Yeah,
furlong work.
no doubt about it.
I mean, I don't know why, but hey, have at it, man. You go that
I
11 seconds, you're doing all right.
I will not lie. I'm doing that pick based on Juan Hernandez getting them out. Not gonna lie about it. I then went to the 3 horse in Billie Holiday, Aguilar riding for Steve Biotti in that case. Second time starter, really nice work from the gate. The last time out, a little bit better, frankly, and improved from the one before that. So hopefully just a horse on the improve sort of in general, Barry. But in this race, you went 4, 5, and 3. Anything to add on, say, the 5 or the 3 here?
Yeah, the 3 just didn't get out of the gate. I want to give that horse another shot.
Sure.
Miati's do a little bit better second time out. Aguilar kind of migrates over here, and a nice workout September 20th. So this horse might be on the improve, and I think that they'll show up during this race somewhere.
There you go. All right, we'll move on to race 4. Odd or even number races means Louie gets to go first. This is the Grade 2 City of Hope Mile. Last year's winner, Johannes, went on to a second place finish in the mile at the Breeders' Cup. $200,000 on the line. Johannes is back to defend his crown, Barry. I do think he's the class here. I think it's not necessarily very close, frankly, that Johannes is going to be the class here in this one. Very interesting choice by Connections, whatever, to debut this horse in 2025 in that version of the 4-star Dave. My goodness, that is a life choice that I would not have made, I don't think. But here we are, I think, getting back to his turf at Santa Anita, where the horse is 7 for 7 lifetime. Did I do that again with the volume? Good gosh. It's the shirt. It's this like dad shirt, bad rolling job on the sleeves by me. It's just not good, Barry. But I got Johannes on top here for all of the obvious reasons. Final boss second for me here for John Sadler. Juan Hernandez has been riding this horse for a long time. We last saw this one in the Grade 2 Del Mar handicap Bad news. Horse finished sixth. Good news. The horse would have won the race had it been at this distance. So I think getting back to the mile will be something very, very good for this horse. We saw him, in the wicker early on this year on listed stakes at Del Mar, where he finished behind Almendarez and Zio Joe. Again, had the lead late in that race. If we can just settle a little bit, this horse ran faster next time out in an optional claimer in total amount of time. If we can just get this horse to chill out just a little bit in the form cycle, should be good to go. But this isn't every other type as well. 4 back, 1, 4th place, 3 back, 1, 2 back, 6th place last time out. Should be a factor here. So again, in this one, Barry, I'm going to go 3, 4, and a 6. In this race here, though, you landed 3, 5, and 4. What do you like about the 5 horse here?
Yeah, it's kind of the best of the rest. I don't think this field is very tough as far as stakes horses go. Almendarez is pretty consistent closer, and I just think Final Boss might give it up late, and Almendarez just pass him. Meanwhile, looking at Johannes win by probably about 4 or 5 lengths.
Okay. There you go. Wow. All right. That's more than I've got as far as just beating him up at 3, 4, 3, 5, 4 for Barry there, 3, 4, and 6
But
for me here. Go ahead.
just a point on what you're saying, bringing back that horse in the 4-star Dave.
Yeah.
I was with you at first, thinking that why would you bring this horse across the country for that sort of race? But it kind of makes sense by the time you think about where this horse is starting to where this horse wants to be.
They're
You
working
want to
backwards.
probably get
Right.
get the hardest race possible to start, even though he didn't run that well. Go to a softer spot, get that confidence, and then peak at the right time in the third race of that form cycle, which should be in the Breeders' Cup. So it does make sense, but he's got to perform. I mean, anything close to what he did last time is not going to cut it.
Yeah, he won't. Not only will he not win this race, he might miss the board if he runs like he did in the 4-star Dave.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, yeah, you can't do that again. Totally agree with you there. Johannes was my vote for Eclipse Award winning turf horse last year, Barry, based on the body of work in North America. Do you agree with that vote?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He was very good all year.
So did Joaquin Jaime. How about that? He and I fellow Eclipse voters. How about that? I had no idea until yesterday. I'm just kidding. All right. So race 5 will be a maiden special race.
A flex? Are you just flexing on me? That's messed up.
Oh, man. I'm excited for one of the horses in this race. It is a $60,000 purse for 6 furlongs on the dirt, 2-year-olds in this one, Barry. It's an odd race, so I don't get to go first, but I'm going to let you go first. I think there's this potential superstar in here. Go ahead. Who do you have on top?
I went to the 5, Plagiarist. That race that horse ran on August 31st was real interesting. Stuck on the rail, didn't get a great trip at all. I mean, was slow. You can even see it on the replay if you go back and look. It was just clearly a step slow. Didn't get any room. Didn't even get to run. Mark Glatt does very well second time out, getting Abel Liscano this time. But I think the role reversal is there. I think this horse is going to improve second time out and be on it. 6-1, good price. Let's take it.
That was a good price. So Barry landed on the 5 on top there. I landed on the 1, and I am very, very excited about the 1. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I think he's really good. I think he's going to be great. In fact, my banners are all screwed up, so I got to reorder all these things, but we are on race 5, believe it or not. So that's there. I don't know where my personal picks went at all for this race, Barry, but I'll just tell people out loud what I was trying to do, which is 1, 4, and 2. I landed on the Bob Baffert trainee that Juan Hernandez is going to ride. What a stunner for me that they win at 39% together at Santa Anita and 40% overall. I think this one, who they debuted at a mile, very interesting, frankly. Getting back to 6 furlongs, all he's got to do in this spot, Barry, is just go. I think he's going to be able to do exactly that. I don't know that there's another horse in this field that even holds a candle to what he's going to try to do in this spot. I went 1, 4, and 2, as I mentioned. Army Man is going to be in here. I don't know if we've got a trend on this show, Barry, but what is it? 2 weeks in a row we've had a McCarthy first timer.
Yeah, I get bet down.
Well, and one of them won, right?
Yeah,
and so
one of them did win. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like that's actually starting to happen a little bit here. So I'm looking harder at and you picked it, by the way. That's how I remember, because I ain't pick it. But I got Army Man his second here. Real question, Barry, because I don't know the answer to this, and no one in California has been able to tell me who's riding for Paco.
That's a good question.
No one's been able to tell me. I know little things, like I imagine once we get to the Goodwood and he's not there and Umberto Rispoli doesn't have a mount, I have a feeling of who's getting that mount. But in a race like this, who's getting the mount? You know what I mean? Like, who's picking up for Paco here? And
Maybe
so some of
somebody
those
else from out east.
would they ship somebody in at this point? Why am I messing with
I mean, Tyler Gaff rode Boyd for Baffert. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point it's probably too late to ask people, especially with the purses
Yeah,
at both
that's tough.
at Aqueduct and at Churchill this weekend. I don't know that you can get somebody out there at this point.
Yeah,
Now
that's
it's
tough.
not graded stakes. I'm not fighting that. Obviously, Paco was willing to make the flight, and he should have, by the way, been able to make willing to make that flight. No one's been able to answer that question for me, and so it sits out. It's kind of a out there in the ether, and no one's been able to answer the question for me, kind of thing. But you went 5, 2, and 3 here. What do you like about Rio Grande?
Second time starter, same thing. A little bit slow, was wide. Kind of got caught wide more than Providence. Who, I have the idea that Providence does not want to sprint. I think this horse has stretch out speed, and um, we'll see on how that horse gets out of the gate. I mean, most Baffert horses do get out of the gate, but
Yes.
I'm of the ilk that Rio Grande might really get out of the gate a lot faster than Providence because of the fact I think Rio Grande is more of a sprinter type than Providence, and they probably want to go longer with Providence too. I know they paid $750 for Rio Grande, but I think they did that well knowing that horse probably is a miler.
Son of Justify is Rio Grande. Son of Into Mischief is Provenance or whatever they call that horse. I'm sure Frank Mirabati will clear that up for us on a Saturday. Race 6 is up next. It continues the graded stakes here. The Grade 2 John Henry Turf Championship, $200,000 here. We'll start on the downhill turf course, pass over the grass, and then finish the rest of the race on the turf course at Santa Anita for 3 and up here. Again, $200,000 on the line here, Barry. And an interesting race because we get the return of Gold Phoenix, who just won the Del Mar handicap for the 4th time in a row, which is unbelievable, and wins that Grade 2. But that's at 1 mile and 3/8. We're cutting back to 1.25 miles here. Not a huge difference, frankly, in the amount of running that you're going to do, 1/8 of a mile less, of course. But there are some horses in here who are fascinating, and not one that I picked, but one that I love because I feel like the horse is always there is Dicey Mochara. We'll break from the 4. Hector Berrios gets the mount. Barry, is there a world in which, with Hector Berrios in the irons, Dicey Mochara actually gets this done?
Damn right he does. Because of the fact there is no speed. I mean, if this race was in 2022, Balladeer would be my choice. But we're in 2025, and Balladeer hasn't seen the lead in quite some time. And that just leaves the door open for Dicey Mochara. And specifically, if you go back to the August 31st, 2024 race and the September 28th, 2024 race, he comes into this race in similar fashion. You see the pop the last time, going 1 mile and 3/8, did the same thing the race before the John Henry Turf Classic. I think he's going to try to recreate that. Hector Berrios is going to get to lead. He's getting back on this horse.
Yep.
The intent is there,
Yep.
and the door is there, wide open for this horse to go through it. Because a horse like Gold Phoenix, who is very tough, and I love watching him run, but I can't bet horses like this, especially when they're caught out wide. I know it's not too wide, like he was last time, but man, it's hard to get a horse like that at a short price winning by a neck.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hear you.
and that's how he wins. I mean,
Yep.
Gold Phoenix
That's what he
doesn't
does.
like
That's
pull away from everybody, so he's always susceptible for an upset. And I think Dicey Mochara getting the lead makes a lot of sense here.
certainly not on the same level, but I just remember wanting Idiomatic to pull away from other fillies and mares, and she just never
She
would.
just doesn't do it. Yeah.
to do it. For sure, Gold Phoenix is a bit like that. I do have him on top, Barry, just because he does win. Right. I mean, it's just one of those things where he does win. I went 7, 6, and 5 in this race. I think Stay Hot is super interesting here. 3 for 3 hitting the board this year in all 3 of his races, all of them in stakes. Started at Lone Star before moving to Del Mar, was a winner at Lone Star. They flew in Mike Smith for that race, who keeps them out here for Peter Urton. and the X Line Border Racing folks. And this is one where if this horse has never tried the distance, okay, has been at 1.125 miles, and then they tried him in the Del Mar handicap and finished an excellent second. Okay. And you talk about there not being a ton of speed in this race. Is there a world in which Stay Hot and Mondigo go to the front?
No.
No.
Stay Hot does not want the front. I mean, they went to the lead in that Turf Classic because they were tons the best. Mike Smith knew it, and he got the job done. But they really ideally want to target. The only problem is Gold Phoenix just is a better closer.
Yeah.
But again,
you're then going to try to get the lead here. Who do you think ends up in the lead in this one?
Dicey Mochar. He's
Okay.
gonna go to the front.
Okay.
Balladiers just doesn't have anymore. He's just a step slow. Spycatcher has the ability, but I don't think the horse wants to go this distance and isn't as good. And that was my reservation with Stay Hot, is that horse might not want to go this far.
All right, you landed 4, 7, and 3. What do you like about Spycatcher in this spot? Big price, 12-1.
Yeah, I think Spycatcher can work out a nice trip. Being forwardly placed, I think in this race is going to be really good things. And I think this horse can hang around, likes the distance. I think this horse, the farther the better. Funny enough, I mean, I know this horse hasn't gone this distance, but his effort at mile 3/8 against Rastaman Vibe was pretty decent. And that horse is probably going to take some money in the race that he's running here.
Yeah.
But only because he likes the distance, not for the fact that he fits class-wise. But that always in these kind of races goes a long way, because there's not many races that go this long, and there's not many specialists. So if you can find a horse that likes this distance, the class sometimes doesn't matter.
Right.
So
right.
We'll see. And at 12-1 to round out a triple, I think Spycatcher can do it.
Amwager and Amwager.com. That was the first 6 races on the card there at Santa Anita on Saturday. This is SoCal Saturdays on the Horse Racing Happy Hour platform. My name's Louie Rabaut, hanging out with the mind of Spears and Barry Spears. How about that?
I want that.
Moving on to race 7. You're so right. $20,000 optional claimer here, 6 furlongs on the dirt. We're running for $29,000. You talk about just an absolute very different race in the middle of a bunch of graded stakes, Barry. Here we are. It is race 7. You landed on the 3 horse like I did in this one. We are very different behind Supernal, but why do you like Supernal?
I think that they kind of ran him in the wrong races there. He's not technically a turf horse, and this seems to be what he wants to do, is sprinting on the dirt. His races in May and April and March, most of those races would get it done here. He was running with a little bit better company than this, and he's going to get the setup. I think Devil Among Us is going to set the table for him. That horse is really faint-hearted, doesn't want to win, and I think he'll take over late and really, really, really go away. I like this horse quite a bit. In fact, I would say this is my most likeliest winner on the card.
Okay, there you go. 3 for 5 lifetime at the distance. Does have a second as well in that. Underrated stat, I think, is 21% win strike rate for Kazushi Kimura and Doug O'Neill at Santa Anita, because I don't think of Doug O'Neill as a 20% anything. And I'm not picking on Doug O'Neill at all. He runs his horses.
No, he runs his horses, right. He's like Kenny McPeak.
He is.
Right.
He's like the coach, frankly, right? I mean, he's like lots of, frankly, for us horse players, that's what we want, right? Give us those guys, right? Just go run your horses, just fill the gates. We'll figure it out from there. We'll do the wagering part of this. Just get your horses in there as much as you can. I'm with you. I landed on Supernal on top here. I went to the 9 on the outside and Tiger in my tank second here. A son. This is a fascinating one. A son of Smiling Tiger, but a Kentucky bred. I don't know. Speaking of things that I don't know that I've seen, 1 furlong workouts and then Sons of Smiling Tiger, born in Kentucky. But this is an interesting one, last seen in the $16,000 allowance company at 5.5. And I think the 6 furlongs is probably just right here. A second and a third and 2 lifetime attempts, at the distance, but hasn't done this in a while, Barry, right? Outside of the last run before that was last seen 6.5 at Del Mar. So I think this distance is probably right. Kyle Frey keeps the mount here, which I think is a big positive as well. So I landed 3, 9, and 8 in here. The 8 is Bali Vaughn Gig. What you know about a Bali Vaughn Gig? What you know? Nothing? because I know nothing. Ballybon
Nothing,
Gig,
not nothing.
literally nothing. But this horse was not great last time, but that was until the very last moment. Giovanni Franco picks up the mount here. This one did win on the turf 2 back. Before that, though, was super competitive at a lower level than this. And I'm just hoping that that speed will carry. So 3, 9, and 8 here, Barry. You went a different direction after the 3. So 3, 4, and 1. What do you like about the Devil Among Us?
Just the speed. This horse should get out and go, and is probably going to outlast the other speeds in this race. But you'll see, obviously, Devil Among Us, the record on this horse: 22 starts, 8 second place finishes. So I think it's inevitable this horse is going to finish second.
Okay. All right. So Devil Among Us is your second place finisher. Barry also has the one horse in his handicapping, which is Kahuna Magic. You get John Sheriffs and Huberto Rispoli at 12-1. I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah, best of the rest, kind of picking up pieces late. It should set up for this horse to come running. They just got to do it. I think Rispoli is smart enough to keep this horse in contention, because class-wise, this horse might be up against it a little bit. But
Mm.
I still think this horse, just the running style alone, should put this horse in the picture late.
Well, good. I hope you're right. Barry again, 3, 4, and 1. I was 3, 9, and 8 there in a race 7. Move on to race 8, of course, is another of the graded stakes. We're heading to the hill. Down the hill in the Eddie D, the grade 2, $200,000 on the line, 3 and up in this one here, Barry. We get some new shooters in here who have never tried the hill, and we get some older shooters who have tried it a lot. Where did you land in race 8, and why did you land on a long shot?
Yeah, I'm throwing one downfield here. I landed on number 7, Kale's Angel, primarily because I like horses that cut back from a mile to go down the hill. That's precisely what this horse is doing, and should get that push. You see how this horse came off the layoff in the early part of the year. So they came out sort of running at Oaklawn.
Hmm,
Slight layoff, ended up at Turfway, won a minor stake there, the Animal Kingdom, which is a really good race.
it is.
Went back to Oaklawn and started the competitive juices there in those low level stakes. Ended up at Del Mar over the summer. Ran a bang up race going a mile. The
Hmm.
cutback makes a lot of sense. Peter Miller's firing on all cylinders. Literally gets Juan Hernandez for this race. I don't know how much more you could call your shot than than putting Juan Hernandez on this horse.
Love it. Love it.
12 to
7, 4, and
1.
5
I
for
don't think we're
Barry.
going to get 12 to 1 thanks to Juan Hernandez, but I do think we'll probably get about 6 or 7.
Oh, sure. I actually definitely agree with that. I'm on the 8 here. First piece outside for Mike Smith, who's had the mount for this horse since 2022. This is a horse that's 3 for 6 down the hill and 3 seconds. So never been worse than second down the hill, Barry. I just love that kind of consistency. Wasn't great in the Green Flash last out, but I think they were using that to set up for this race, which the horse won last year and came from off the pace to do it. This is one that's going to be able to have the late kick, Barry. I think we'll be good to go. You mentioned going from a mile to down the hill. What did this horse do? Won the Wicker at a mile last year at Del Mar prior to winning this one. So I do think this is one in first piece that, if ready, and I think the workouts are an indication that in fact this horse should be amongst the contenders at the very end of the race. Again, 8, 5, and 1 for me. Yellow card, second in the handicapping for me, Michael McCarthy here. This is one that has tried the hill just once, finished a good second down it. It hasn't tried the hill, excuse me. Tried the hill at Kentucky Downs before. Was in the grade 1 Franklin Simpson, finished a good second in that race. And Barry, I'm using that experience from the weird thing that is Kentucky Downs to go down the hill and over the dirt at Santa Anita. So my sense is if you can run well at Kentucky Downs, you can certainly run well down the hill at Santa Anita. So give me 8, 5, and 1 in here. Your second pick is the 4 horse here. You agree with me on the 5, yellow card. So Red Toe Sky, a horse that we talked about quite a bit on this program.
Yeah, his better races actually have really come down the hill, and
No doubt.
I'm sure Phil D'Amato and the connections would want more races carted down the hill, especially for this horse.
Yep.
Uh, Finishes really, really strong. I just think Kale's Angel has a little bit of an edge,
Mm.
um, going that mile and on the cutback. The setup is there. Sorrento Sky is going to be close. I think those two horses will dominate up front when it's all said and done.
7, 4, and 5. Anything you want to add to yellow card besides my Kentucky Downs take about about the yellow card?
Yeah, he's a nice horse. He gave Howard Wolowitz a little scare, and at Kentucky Downs, but
Yep.
this horse is on the up and up, and I wouldn't be surprised if next year
Mm.
Yellow Card really comes into his own and becomes like a real turf sprint monster.
All right, move on to race 9. Start of the late double already. My goodness, is the Grade 1 Goodwood win and in for the Breeders' Cup Classic in this one? $300,000 on the line. We get the ship of First Mission across the country. Barry, let's go ahead and just try to do the predicting for Brad Cox and connections here. Obviously, out of the as our guy Chase would say, go Dolphin. Out of the Godolphin folks here as well. Umberto gets the mount here as our guest. Yes.
I don't know. What
Because
what is Florent Giroux doing on Saturdays? He could show up out there.
there's like $400,000 races here. Why would he fly? I
That's true.
I'm just telling you, for money purposes, nobody's leaving Churchill, and I'm not putting any of these
Probably
races
not.
down. They're
Yeah,
running
you're right.
grade threes for 400K. They're running grade threes for 100,000 out west. It's not the same. It's not the same. Irad's not even in New
Yeah,
York
but
anymore.
who's he gonna get?
I think it's
I
Umberto
mean,
for this race.
he's
I
just
mean,
gonna
that's
get whoever's in the room.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go for
that would make sense here.
it. I think at this spot, it's probably going to be Umberto. We're going a
But
mile
if
in
you
eight.
know, he's not getting on a winner, so that's okay.
Yeah, all right. Well, there you go. Barry's tipping his hand here ahead of time. You and I landed on the same horse here, Barry. What do we like about Full Toronto?
This race gave me fits. I'm not gonna lie. These horses are really tough because
Yeah.
it seems like they get into this kind of competition and they don't want to win. Full Serrano is the only one that kind of executes and does it. I don't particularly think he's all that flashy or even exceptionally good. He's just better than these. And this is probably the perfect thing for him heading into the Breeders' Cup
I agree. I
because
agree.
of the fact this race isn't going to be terribly hard on him. And if he can win, it'll set him up really well for his, foray back into the dirt mile. And I think that's a perfect thing for him. So there is that possibility that they may not be fully cranked on this one. So he's kind of a risky proposition. I think he's going to run well regardless, but if he doesn't win, that wouldn't surprise me.
Brad Cox shipped out Hit Show for the Santa Anita handicap this year. How'd that go?
Not good.
Not good. Okay. So I question, and I talked to Brad on Monday, on Blood Horse Monday, and he was very clear. They are going out for this race because it's a grade 1. That's it. That's why they're shipping the horse for this race, for First Mission in because it's a grade 1. And that to me is not, that's not the horse is in good form. That's not, we're trying to figure out where he fits
Well,
in the
they
previous
did it in the Pegasus, and look what happened there. I mean, this horse clearly isn't a grade 1 horse. He's more of a grade 3 type that could win a grade 2.
Yes, right.
So you would figure if he drops down after running in this tough competition, he would have somewhat an advantage, but he really doesn't. I mean, he's a tough read in this race, to be honest with you.
I went with gaming as my top Baffert here. The other Baffert, if
Wow,
you will, was in the shared belief. Looked like
wow.
trash last out, but before that looked really good in the affirm. So I'm hoping the affirm version of this horse shows up, or the Pat Day Mile version of this horse. Now the problem is, one of those was in the slop. That was the Pat Day Mile, but over good form, or excuse me, over Fasco at Santa Anita, the horse was very good as well. This is a 3-year-old. I'm very interested that he put a 3-year-old in this company here, Barry, but 7 runs in the money in 8 lifetime starts on fast dirt. And the only time the horse missed was in the Southwest at Oaklawn Park. I'm not holding that race against the horse because, frankly, Barry, I watched an entire spring and summer of racing at Churchill Downs where those horses that came out of Oaklawn couldn't win. They just couldn't. So I am not going to hold that race against him. He did run on the hot springs. He ran second. I thought, though, that affirmed showed that he could be very good at Santa Anita. He's a Son of Game winner. So I don't quite know what to make of the breeding, except that that's in the Candy Ride line. So I don't think the distance at 1.125 is going to be too much. Again, the affirmed was at 1.16 It's not like we're doing so much more there. So I landed 7, 4, and 1 in here. You landed 7, 2 in form. Tell us about Ultimate Gamble.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ultimate Gamble and Bafford's other horse, Nevada
Right,
Beach,
right about
kind of have the same sort of feel to them. Um, I just chose Ultimate Gamble because he has more experience and he ran pretty decent against Fierceness and Journalism last time. Good enough to where I think this horse can kind of keep that steady flow going and maybe slightly improve or even run the same kind of race. And that should be good enough to show up here. But Nevada Beach is really interesting to me also. And I know I didn't use this horse in my handicapping, but you'll see that Gaming beat this horse back in June. But I think this horse has gotten better and Gaming has regressed. Um, Gaming is very inconsistent. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that horse just takes off and wins this race, but it's going to be hard to predict, and I would want a price on Gaming. Um, but Nevada Beach, it may come off that Gaming might set the table for one of
Mm,
those two horses,
okay.
and if that does happen, I would definitely think Nevada Beach might be the best closer. Unfortunately, even though I didn't even put that horse in my handicapping.
You've been inside the mind of Spears.
Yeah, you don't want
Check it
that.
out.
See, I told you.
Wager.com. 100% deposit match up to $150. We thank the 1,362 people who are hanging out with us right now on this show. What a ridiculous thing for all of you to be doing at the same time. But race 10 will close the card on Saturday at Santa
No
Anita.
Priveman for you. Actually, no Priveman. You didn't like Priveman?
I'm pro
No.
Jay Privman, but
Yeah,
I'm
he's the
not
man.
pro Privman horse. No,
Okay.
Jay Privman's the obvious guy. Yes, he's the dude.
Yeah,
We get it.
yeah,
Yes,
he's the
all the way.
guy. He's the guy.
It's a humble brag when you say things like, I don't have to go to the Derby this year. What a humble brag that is. Can you imagine just saying things like that? Oh, retirement's great. I don't have to go to the Derby anymore. I can travel that time of year. What?
Oof.
Let's go,
I
Jay
know.
Privman.
You got people like me that never been. This guy's like,
Finally, I could
whatevs.
travel. My wife and I could go drink wine in a different place. The
Right?
John C. Harris, formerly the Grade 3 Unzip Me, will close the card here, of course, named after the legendary farm owner and breeder out there in California, the late, great John C. Harris. So glad to see this, Barry, in his honor, in his memory here. When you think those great Calbreds, when you think those, that program, John C. Harris is definitely one of those names you think of. Again, 6.5 down the hill here. 3-year-old fillies in this one. There's one in here that I adore in this spot. I have a long shot I like in here that you think is the best horse in here. I'm going to have you go first and tell me why a horse that I do like. I'm not going to lie. I'd like a lot. But Mirko DeMuro's about to go down the hill and win a Grade 3. Tell us why the 5, Lee's Baby Girl, wins the damn thing.
Well, if this horse is going to do what I think she's going to do, all Demura has to do is hold on. Just hold on. Because this horse has been a different horse since adding Lasix, honestly. That run in February was really, really good. Dominated that event. Then paired it up with that 80K optional claimer run,
Yep.
slightly off the pace, which adds another dimension. I think down the hill is perfect for Lee's Baby Girl. If we get that 15-1, look out for the bailout.
7 times hitting the board in 9 lifetime turf runs. So if you take out the 3 runs on dirt, this horse does have a sparkling record, frankly, hitting the board. And of course, we love Carla Gaines on this show. You land on the 5 on top. I have the 5 in my third spot in handicapping. It's interesting. You and I both got there. I think Kozaloo, you know what, Barry? When all else fails, you pick Bob Baffert on the turf down the hill. You understand me? That's what you do. You take Bob Baffert. Does he know the hill or not? He does. You're damn right he does. How many times do you think Bob Baffert's walked the hill? Twice? Maybe once?
Maybe once.
Bob, you watching? Let us know. Text the show. There's a comment section.
I'm actually curious.
I think Kozaloo is legitimately not just a favorite, like the big time favorite here. Won the Sweet Life down the hill in February. Looked really good in the San Clemente at a mile. Tried the mile into Nathan, the Del Mar Oaks, and just ran out of gas. I think Kozaloo in here is, I don't know. I feel as good about that as I do about any pick on my
Wow.
handicapping today for sure. I think she's going to be spectacular on Saturday. There's our guy Kazushi. Eiffel's a really interesting one to me too. The 9 horse here. And Barry, for a lot of the reasons you like horses down the hill, I like Eiffel. Comes out of a mile and a 16th, which was just too much. But before that, in an optional claimer at Del Mar, did the closing late over a mile and looked really good doing it. Lost by a neck in that one to Innovative, who was also in this field. But before that, did sprint at 6 at Santa Anita and won that on debut under Antonio. Hasn't gotten rid of that running style, that closing running style, but we see that be very, very effective down the hill as well, Barry. So I went 6, 9, and 5 in here. I agree with you about much of the 5 horses about that. But Me So Fancy on the outside. By the way, you need to just play this exacta.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that.
Box it up for $5, cost you $10 because if it hits, my God, you're moving. But Hector
I just
Barrios is, go ahead. Yeah, Me So
Oh,
Fancy, my buddy.
I was gonna say, Me So Fancy is just in really good form. I know
Sure.
that last race, August 21st, was a little strange, and this horse was kind of wide and just ran on. It kind of shocked me that this horse kind of showed up late. It
Uh,
was really, just hung around, and it's a better effort than it looks on paper. Getting to the turf makes a lot of sense, and going down the hill makes a lot of sense for a horse that really doesn't want to go, over a certain distance. I think a mile is this horse's ceiling, but it should accentuate her kick. And being way outside might not be the worst thing in the world either, uh, considering there might be a little bit of commotion and some speed going out there. Could set the table for a horse like Me So Fancy just to get a nice wide, clear trip, finish strong. Probably get
uh,
more than 12-1, to be honest with you. I think we're going 25-1. You could double that.
there you go. Trainer Leonard Powell does have 2 graded stakes wins this year in the San Juan Capistrano with Needy and in the San Simeon with Air Force Red as well. Well, there you go. There is the 10 race card over there at Santa Anita tomorrow. This has been SoCal Saturdays. Amwager.com, of course, is where we encourage you to go visit our friends over there. We will see them at the Breeders' Cup seminar as well on that Tuesday here in Louisville over at Martini Italian Bistro, martinilouisville.com. If you want to go check out the restaurant there, we will put those tickets up for sale very, very soon as well. Well, Barry, your boring play of the day. I skipped over that, by the way. I should give that out. It's a bad job by me. Was the 3 horse in race 4? That was Johannes. So your boring play of the day.
Johannes.
Here's Johannes. And you don't even have to go the minus Spears for that one. So there you go. Well, I'm
Yeah,
Louie
you
Rabaut.
don't. You just play 3-5, and you'll at least cash 1 ticket.
By the way, I think we should say it enough on this show that we have to do it. Breeders' Cup Saturday, like we're doing nighttime at Cypress, right? We're going to Los Al, right?
Yeah, I thought that was the plan.
Okay, good.
Never
No, I
been.
think we need to say it out loud enough that we force ourselves into
Yeah, you gotta
going to Cypress, going to Del Taco, something, right? You know what I mean? Like just figuring out,
speak it into existence.
just if we continue to reinforce these thoughts, maybe we'll actually do it.
All right. There you go.
Been inside the minus beers. This is SoCal Saturdays. I'm Louie Rabaut. Good luck tomorrow.